Yeah, for sure. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming today. We're basically it's going to be a little info session to kind of help you get you guys prepared for the pop-up market and also Kid Row at DIY Fest. Oh, and I'm Clara, and that's Jeremy, as you know. Okay, so a couple quick notes. Just keep your microphones muted so then we can all hear the presentations. You know the drill. Um, Captions can be turned on at the bottom of the screen if you press live transcripts, I believe. And then it's meant to be interactive. So if you have a question, just type it in the chat and we'll address all the questions at the end of the presentation. And then we'll also post a link to a survey as you guys are very familiar with. Okay. And then next slide real quick. Okay, so overview of kind of what we're going to be talking about today. We have just kind of the who, what, where, when, why, overall, all of those components of DIY Fest, and then important dates and deadlines for you to keep note of, planning your booth, your space, um, things like exhibitor badges and tickets, comp tickets, which are basically free tickets to help you bring in someone else. And then other considerations, we have a little bit about volunteering, a little guide for a successful festival experience, and then our contact information. And then at the end, like we said, we'll have our question and answer portion of the slideshow.
Yeah, so with that too, as we go through the slideshow, if you have any questions, definitely feel free to write them in the chats. And then at the end, we will kind of wrap back around to those. We can answer all the questions, or if there's other questions that come up in that time. So save your questions. We'll try to get to them all at the end. But also feel free to write them out in the chat, and one of us can get to them if we can during the presentation as well.
Right. And then our mission, I think we've gone over this a little bit in our sessions, but our mission here at Craft Lake City is to educate, promote, and inspire local artisans while elevating the creative culture, of the Utah arts community through science, technology, and art. And now I'll pass it over to Jeremy and we'll get started.
Cool. All right. Thanks for coming, guys. This is going to be a good overview of what DIY Fest is for people who haven't been to it before, as well as what to expect for the pop-up market that we have coming up on June 13th. So just have all this information you might need going forward. So we'll talk about uh, some of the aspects of DIY Fest overall, what to expect, and some information you'll be receiving in the next few weeks for those type of things. But I'll start with DIY Fest right now and kind of explain what it is. Um, so yeah, DIY Fest is our biggest event of the year. It's presented by Harmons. It's our largest local centric art, music, science, and technology festival, celebrating all sort of things handmade. So that's our biggest thing, DIY. We have over 500 artisans throughout the valley, from vintage vendors, foodies, youth entrepreneurs like yourself, performers, and STEM exhibitors. This is taking place August 7th through 9th. And on top of that, Kid Row is on Saturday only. So that is so Kid Row as well will be from 12 to 4 on Saturday, August 8th. Oh, yes, 8th. And then the Youth Entrepreneur Program, which is what brought you guys here. So there's a little bit overview about our Youth Entrepreneur Program, and this has been going on since 2022, and it's just gotten better every year. And every year, the Youth Entrepreneur Program Kid Row actually began before we had the Youth Entrepreneur Program, and then the Youth Entrepreneur Program actually came out of having Kid Row because we saw there was this necessity for kids to learn more about entrepreneurial skills. And so now all day kids from Youth Entrepreneur go into Kid Row, and they're a little bit more prepared, a lot more prepared, I would hope. So it's one of the awesome things. And about that, let's go into some emails that I would recommend having on hand. So some of these might go to spam sometimes. So just to be aware of these emails. Obviously, you guys are familiar with the YEP at Craft Lake City. So that's where I send out the emails right now. But also Kid Row at Craft Lake City, something to be aware of. That one's specifically for DIY Fest. And so if you get that email, or maybe also mark that as not spam. So if you do get emails, we'll be sending out more Kid Row associated emails with all the YP students included. So we just don't want those to go to spam. Also, Artisan Coordinator, that one overlooks all of our programming at DIY Festival. So just some emails to be aware of, just in case they go to spam. So you get all the emails that you need. Even though most of them should still come from Kid Row and YP right now, but Kid Row will be your main one to look forward to. And then dates and deadlines. So here's the dates for the farmers markets and the Kid Row. So the farmers market we have on June 13th. We do have another one on July 11th that I know a couple people will be attending. So we'll be sending out information on that. But the main one that you guys will be attending is June 13th. The hours are from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. We'll be sending more information on the load-in information because we'll be splitting groups on specific times you'll come in, but it'll be around 7 a.m. To load in, set up, and get everything prepared to be ready by 8 a.m. And then the market, farmers market, goes from 8 a.m. till 2 p.m. And so it's a similar time frame as well as Kid Row. So Kid Row goes from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., so a 4-hour window. And load in will be a little bit different with that is correct. Yeah. So the farmers market is a real market, which I meant to change that. So it's actually not a practice market. It should be called a pop-up market. It's a little bit smaller of a market than DIY Fest, but it is a real market. Yeah, you'll have your whole booth set up like you would at DIY Fest, and you'll sell stuff. So it's a real market. I think we had it originally as practice market because it's a little smaller in comparison to their DIY Fest, a little less intimidating, but it's still a real market. So still big opportunities there. I've seen a lot of kids sell a lot of stuff, do really well at the market itself. So yeah, it's going to be great. Um, and then, like I said, make sure to keep your schedule completely open for designated load-in day and plan on bringing a fan or two to help. Uh, yeah, so there will be, especially DIY Fest, you'll have a different load-in times. So we won't give you those load-in times until the week of the festival, or about a week before. I think it's about a week or two before the festival. We start sending load-in times because we don't send out specific spots as well. So when you get to you won't know where you're actually located until you get to the festival. We have a certain area, but you won't know your exact location until you get there, and we will locate you to where you need to go. And so we have load-in times that help with that as well. And you'll be getting a load-in time, like I said, the week prior. And it could be like a couple hours before to 5 hours before, it depends. So we have different time frames that we split them up so we can stagger people to get everybody in smoothly. And that's a little bit about the farmers market, if anybody's ever been, but it's downtown's farmers market. It is, they have the address on here, but I don't. It is,
I
so I
can
don't have
grab
the
it
address.
and paste it in the chat.
Yeah. We will be sending you all the details,
Yeah.
but just having that up here, yeah, you'll have the address. But I was like, actually, should have the address up here. Yeah, it's been doing it for 34 years. We've been at the farmers market doing the YEP practice market, pop-up market for the last 3 years. It's been a great experience. Um, they're doing some new restructuring at the markets this year, which will be interesting to see. It'll be really cool. They're building and they're getting just a lot more growth happening. So they're doing some adjustments for construction. So that'll be really cool to see. We usually get a really good part of the market space as well. It's nice and shaded. It's a good spot where a lot of people tend to hang out and just are more relaxing. So you get a lot of good traffic. And you're also not in the sun like a lot of people tend to be in the market. So that's really great. And then, yeah, their mission supports small local farms and businesses. So they're just a big supporter of a lot of local businesses, profits. So you get a really good aspect of the community. And it's just a great experience all around. If you guys haven't been yet, highly suggest you go It's every Saturday from June 6th to October 24th. It's one of my favorite things to do. Have you been, Clara? It's-
Yes, it was one
yeah,
of the first places I went to when I moved here. It was super fun.
yeah, it's one of my favorite spaces. Awesome. And then the DIY Fest, we talked about this earlier. So we have another slide. But to go into some more detail, opportunity for Utahns to shop locals, more support small business owners like yourself. An event for local Utah artists to display and sell their handcrafted wares. Again, Friday, August 7th, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Saturday, August 8th, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. And Sunday, August 8th, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. And you guys will be on the Saturday from 12 to 4. So it's half that day. So uh, if you guys want to hang out the other parts of the festival, we'd love to. There's a lot of other good things happening around that. But that time that we have you in for the Kid Row is probably our busiest time. So it gets really crazy and fun. So we have you in a really good spot for the time that you're there. And then planning your exhibitor space. So we'll be sending these out as we get closer to the DIY festival. You'll get um, because you are already accepted as being part of the YUP program, you will get an email for the acceptance of Kid Row, and it will have your information for your space. And it is 3.5 feet of a 6 foot table. So you're going to be sharing a table space with another entrepreneur. And with that, we'll talk about some of the things your booth requires. I feel like I touched on it a little bit, but I think there were some other aspects that I might not have highlighted as much, is that you won't have a lot of room. You'll have that 3.5 space, but there's no option to put like a back wall or anything on the ground around you, just considering the space and the walkability around the area. It's really crowded, and which is great because there's a lot of energy. But because of that and safety reasons, we need to have everything on that 3.5 table space. So you can have, your banners, tablecloths. You can, have a pretty high shelf that has a lot of stuff, but everything needs to be on that 3.5 table space, unfortunately. So with this, yeah, so we will provide table space, we'll provide cloths and chairs. We provide 2 chairs per business owner. And then you can have 6x6 sign with your name, business name on it. So for the DIY Fest specifically, and then for the DIY Fest as well, we give 2 tickets to each exhibitor, and you can do with that what you will. You'll get to, we'll talk about this later, but on top of that, which could be useful to know, is that you get 2 uh, badges that will allow you free access, all access to get in. So you and somebody that's helping you will have access to the festival. And then there's 2 extra tickets that if you want to give to family, friends, we give those to you as well. And then this is just to think about. So like I said, it gets a little crowded. So it is important to, be mindful of your neighbors. We're not going to have back walls. So try to think about your space being a little more compact, a little more height than width. Um, Practice this 3.5 space in your own time, as it'll give you a good opportunity to see what works, what doesn't. Maybe I had somebody one time where they had a big cage to put all their stuff in, which was great, but they were completely hidden by it. So it was hard for them to talk with people. So things like that to consider. It is, it's just one of those challenges to get past. But it's really fun. I promise it's a great time. There's a lot of energy, a lot of people come around, great traffic. Yeah, it's awesome. Just some things to be mindful of. Again, within that 3.5 space is what you want to keep all your stuff on, and nothing off the table, nothing on the ground, no racks or walls or other kind of things. And then other considerations. So tables and chairs, like I said again, we'll be providing tables and chairs for everybody, 2 chairs for half table space. Electricity and power. So this is one, if you need it, we can talk about it specifically. And depending on your needs, we can work with that is. It's usually for every other exhibitor in the festival, it's $150. It's just that it is a more of a commodity and special request because we don't have access to electricity for everybody. And so if you need it, we can figure that out. But yeah, so if you need electricity, let me know. There is option as well for bringing like a power generator, small thing, considering you're only there for 4 hours. If that's something that you have access to, that could be an option. But again, if you need power, electricity for any means, uh, reach out to me. I know that some people have done like sticker prints and everything like that, and they needed power. So if you're doing something where you're doing at the festival, you're like printing things and doing things that need electricity, that would be something to consider. So yeah, just let me know and we can figure that out. Then other things, so load in location. Like I said, you will not receive a location until you are on the sites. So be prepared just with your load in time. We'll send that out weeks prior, and then we'll direct you to where you need to go when you load in and get on site. A little bit about product safety. We're not responsible for any lost or stolen items, so you want to stay at your booth or have somebody watch your stuff. Do not leave it unattended. Not to say that things will get stolen, but you're responsible for your booth and your things, so just keep that in mind. And then keep your space clean. Like I said, be mindful of your neighbors. So respectful, keep your area clean, just makes a better festival event for everybody. And also bring a lot of water and sunscreen. You won't be in the sun. We have big tents for you guys to be under, which is great. But sometimes, the sun shifts and you might be so, and you'll be out walking around as well. So sunscreen, big. I bring a lot of sunscreen while just walking around. So, and a lot of water and some snacks, it's a lot of energy. You'll be talking to a lot of people. And then there comes a lot of consideration. So with food vendors, so if you are going to be giving food out, having people sample food, you'll want to make sure you have your food permits. And so food, covered that. Sustainability. We also don't use any plastic bags at the festival at all. It's part of our sustainability mission is that we try to not use any plastic, reduce plastic wherever we can. So we don't use plastic bags at all. So try to use everything biodegradable, paper bags, things like that. So we're not littering and eating things like plastic that are, harmful for the environment. So, and big thing for all you, no smoking on festival grounds. And then we have some good resources for you guys. So I know this is a lot of information, but these are some good resources you can go to at any time. And these are on our website. First one, exhibitor resources. This goes over for every exhibitor, craftcity.com at DIY Festival Exhibitor Resources. Claire will also link these for you guys in the chat. If you guys want to check those out and save those. And we also have a specific Kid Road checklist. So this will go over more specific things regarding your booth and what that would look like. And some ideas about booth setup and all sorts of things. You can use that as an easy guide to go through if you are like, oh, what did they say about this? Or what is this? You can go check that out and it will answer all sorts of different questions and kind of things to expect. Like I said earlier, you will get badges and comp tickets. So all access badges for your exhibitors and we provide access to the whole festival and facilities throughout the whole weekend. So we give 2 of those out per exhibitor, yourself and whoever might be helping you load in, or a business partner, things like that. And then we give 2 comp tickets as well that you can give to family or friends. And then strategic staffing. So use these resources to schedule friends and family to help you throughout the entirety of your DIY. So if maybe somebody wants to shift out of those, you can use those comp tickets to get people in to help you out as well. So some ideas to use those for, or if people just want to use them to go to the festival, also good. And then CLC staff and volunteers are not allowed to booth sit. At times, people will be by themselves and they'll be like, hey, there's a Craft Lake City staff member. Can you wash my booth? And we cannot do that because then we will be responsible for your stuff. And we could do that, but we also have a lot of other stuff going on. And so you want to be responsible for your own things, and we're not allowed to do that. It's just part of the kind of the conduct there for that. But that's also why we recommend bringing another person to help, a parents, a friend. They can, if you need to, use the restroom or do things like that, well, they can wash your booth for you. And sales tax, the most fun parts. So you guys are, so the 7.75, I think this is the current tax rate. And so with the tax setup, we will send out a list to the Utah State Tax Commission, and they will be sending everybody a form after the event. So we don't give you anything to file your taxes with the event. We send out a list of people who exhibit with us, and they will send you a form to file your taxes for those events. And it's not as bad as you think, but just track things that you sell, track things, and then try to also include those sales taxes in your prices, which is it's just a good practice in general. But yeah, consider building into your taxes versus add-ons, and then track everything. Another good practice that's useful, but this will come in handy when you're tracking these taxes that they'll send you. Does anybody have any questions about that right now? I know that taxes are a little weird, but maybe we can cover that some more right now. Cool. Well, if anything comes up on that, yeah, feel free to reach out to us, let us know. But like I said again, we'll send a list to the Utah State Tax Commission, and then you'll get a form after the festival that you'll send back to them after you fill out all that information. And then parking. So parking is, we used to have the ability to control the parking, but as of recent years, the State Fair Park manages all the parking. So there is a fee if you were to park in the Utah State parking grounds, unfortunately. So I think it's $15. Need to double check on that. It might have changed. But there's also parking, especially if you get that early loading in. You have a lot of options on the streets around the State Fair Park. If you wanted to drop off stuff, there's that as well. So just something to think about is that if you do plan on leaving a car parking in the Utah State Fair Park, there is a price for the day. I think it might be 15. I can double check and send you guys that information. But you said, so most streets have enforced 2-hour parking. There's a lot of options that don't, but there is a lot around the place considering that there's a lot of parking for the event. So just some things to be aware getting to the festival, DIY specifically. Kid Row or Farmers Market, let's see if this is in here, but parking is a little easier. There's a drop-off area right where we're at, has parking. So you can either park there, drop it off, and especially getting there so early, there's a lot of options for parking that you can get. And I'll send you more details on that next week about loading because I'm still meeting with the farmers market to finalize a couple of details on the area in a specific location. So I can give you those details, the times. There will be 2 groups for load in. One will be only like 15 minutes apart, but you'll get a specific time, maybe 6:45 or 7 for your load in for the farmers market on June 13th. And and I'll be sending that out next week. So look forward to that. And it'll have the address, it'll have your time, and other important information to be aware of.
No, I feel my grandma.
Promotion stuff. So we also give you part of the acceptance email that we'll send you for the DIY. We'll have Shall I have it in the next one today?
Walk through.
Thought it might have been on one of the earlier slides. I think it might have been. Anyway, it has the DIY. Oh yeah, we talked about it. It had the DIY accepted Kid Row graphic. So we'll be sending those out as well. And you'll have a couple different versions. And you can share those with your friends, family that you're attending. We also have yard signs that we'll be eventually sending out. So if you want to have family members support you, like, hey, I'm going to be at the DIY festival. You can get friends and family and other people in your network to come support your business at these markets. And yeah, cross post, DIY fest, anything like that. If you guys want to share other stuff we're doing, say, hey, I'll be here. We would love that. Yeah, all sort of community, kind of hyping each other up. It's great. Talk about the lawn signs and flyers. We don't actually give you guys flyers, but maybe we'll actually bring some to farmers market if you want to share those. We'll bring those. Yeah, we'll bring the yard signs. We'll bring those to the farmers market. Those are going to be DIY Fest specifically branding. So we'll bring those to the farmers market. I think we have two per person. So however you want to use those, if you want to share those with friends or family. I always have one out in front of my house during DIY. It's great. And then all that. Oh, and then the Venture Lab survey. So we sent this out. I know we didn't get a chance to go over it in the last class a little bit because it was kind of cutting short. We sent out an email recently about the survey. It's something we would love for you guys to do if you could. It's Venture Lab is our partner that helps us put on the program, and they have their own specific survey. It just helps them with their programming, what's worked, what doesn't, how can we make the program better. And yeah, so we can keep doing this. These surveys are really helpful for us. So if you guys could fill this out, we really appreciate it. Claire, could you post that in the chats?
It is in the chat.
Awesome. Cool.
Yes,
And then volunteer shifts for DIY. This is specifically DIY Fest. So you can, if you have any friends or family that want to help volunteer, it's a great place to do that. DIY it originally was purely volunteer based, which has been great. It's been a big part of, what our mission is Craft Lake City. It's community based. And so volunteers are a big part of what makes us so successful. It's just bringing the community together to help each other. And so if there's anybody, that wants to help volunteer, sign up for DIY Fest. There's a lot of different opportunities to help out, different areas, and we can use all the help we can get. So that's a great opportunity to also, if somebody wants to be part of the festival while you're selling at your booth, it's a great way to just, be part of the festival together. And Clara is also our volunteer. So she is a great contact. And then again, yeah, it goes over the guides we went over a little bit earlier. The Kid Row checklist, a great tool to have on if you guys have any questions just about the festival experience in general. Some ideas, answering some questions, just giving you a good overview. That's a good tool to just have on hand. A little bit of expert advice and tips, factors for financial success. Like I said, track your sales, try to implement those taxes into your prices. Use those awesome square readers that somebody gave you, which is awesome. I'm glad you guys have those. So those are great uses. Compelling displays, like we talked about booth design. Because a lot of you, everybody had awesome designs for your booth. So, just really practice those booth setups, what that would look like, see if there's any changes you can make, practice. That's what, practice makes perfect. So the farmers market is a great experience for that, which is, I think, why we initially called it a practice market. But it's generally just a great learning experience because it's a real market and you'll get really good feedback. You'll get a good learning, like, hey, this actually didn't work out too well, or I could have done this better, or maybe I didn't have the products I wanted, and it was pretty apparent in the sense of like the engagement, or maybe I could make my engagement a little bit better here. So try to like take a lot of notes at the farmers market and try to take that into DIY festival. And then again, self-care for long days. So the festival itself, it gets a little tiring. There's a lot going on. You're going to be talking to a lot of people. Stay hydrated, bring snacks, have somebody kind of take over for a second if you need a break. But yeah, let us know at any time. We'll be on hand to help you out. If you have any questions, need support with anything, we'll be around to help you out as well. Yeah, and then be a good neighbor. Like I said, the spaces are a little tight. Farmers market will be a little bit more open, but you'll still be sharing the space with another business owner in that 3 by 2.5 feet on the 6 foot tables. Actually, I think we have for the farmers market, I don't think we had it in here, but I think it'll be a little bit bigger. I think we're using 8 foot tables for the farmers market. So you'll have a little bit more space, but I also want to prepare you for DIY. So try to utilize farmers market to be prepared for that space constraints. But I think it's great too, opportunity for that space just because there's not a ton of product in general a lot of the times. And it's a great way to just prioritize what you want to sell and show off and really get used to highlighting your awesome products. And then contact information. So some of you have this already, but just to go over it again so you have it. Website, craftlakestudio.com. Our phone number, 801-906-8521. And then our social handle, at Craft Lake City. So those are, you can find us on Instagram at Craft Lake City. We share a lot of different things about DIY Fest. We'll post exhibitor highlights as well. And you guys will be on there eventually as well as highlighting your business and your name. So if you guys aren't following us, check it out. And you guys can, we'll end up tagging you guys in those as well to promote your business, which is a great opportunity as well. And see, we also have Claire on here and Chelsea. You guys met Chelsea briefly. Chelsea will be at the farmers market with you to help you out. So you'll be coordinating with her a little bit more going forward. So she is a good contact to remember as well. Right.
Schedule.
Forget that one.
Yeah.
Okay. FAQs. So these are some common questions. Will Wi-Fi be available? Yes. Wait. I actually can't remember right now. It doesn't say that.
Yes.
I know we have it, but it's like very sparse. The internet's not very good considering there's a lot of people. I don't think we have an open network. So, and it's also the internet's just a little shoddy. If anybody's ever been to the Fair Park.
Yeah,
it's a
definitely plan on not relying on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
That's just to be safe. Because there's just so many people there. So just don't plan on it.
And then could you go through what payment systems is best to use? So we talked about the Square is a great option. QR codes are also great for like Venmo, things like that.
And then the second page is just.
And then what do I do if I sell out of everything? Which is a pretty common question because sometimes you may not have enough product to sell, so you might run out, which is totally fine. Which is great. It means you figure out what you can sell and that you did really well, or maybe you need more. But in this case too, maybe it's a good opportunity to put some promotional stuff. So maybe have your social handles available, how they can reach you. Maybe have like a email mailing list. Like if they want, hey, reach out to me when you get more of this product, things like that. So you can reach out to people if they're interested. It's like, hey, I wanted to get this, but you're sold out. So how can they stay in contact with you? How can they follow you? Things like that to consider if you do run out, that you can still, get your name out there and connect with people, even if you don't have anything to sell. So there's still ways to, promote your business and make great use of the time, even if you do run out of product. So,
There's.
and then is there a place to find resources like a checklist? Yes, the Kid Row checklist we talked about. Did you, and you said you linked that, correct?
Yes,
Awesome.
all the checklists and resources are linked in the chat.
Nice. There's that as well. Did we link the back wall, or I guess I guess that's not part of the suit.
I don't believe so, but
That's
I
fine
can.
actually, because
Okay. Yeah.
within that too, though, you can get all sorts of different resources from those links for the exhibit resources. So if you want to look over, get a better overview of maybe what some of the other vendors or exhibitors are doing, it's a great opportunity to see the differences and maybe you'll get some ideas as well. Do we rent out tents or weights? We do rent out weights, but we don't. I don't know why we have that anyway. It's not really applicable here. So because we do provide tents for all the Kid Row and at the farmers market and DIY Fest, so it's not really applicable here. So we can kind of pass that for now. Interesting. Again, tent weights, yeah, not really applicable. We'll be taking care of all that. We'll set up all the tents and the weights and everything like that. So that's not something you guys need to worry about. Cool. Is there any, let's see if there's any other questions on here. That's it for those specific questions. All right. And now if you guys have any questions, we can go through those.
We do have some in the chat. I can read them to you if you want, Jeremy.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so first, Ellie asked, will we be making business cards for the festival and market?
Or they really just be DIY Fest? Or will they just be DIY Fest? Can you, I'm just,
It's will we be making business cards for the festival and market? Like just in general.
if that's something you want to do, definitely you can make them specifically for those events. But we'll have. I'm just trying to think if there was that second part of the question, if that was for DIY Fest specifically. But I think, yeah, if you want to design, so I see what you're saying. Okay, so the signs and flyers, those are actually designed by us, and we give those out to you to use as promotional material.
Yeah, and then also feel free to make your own business cards for the festival. I think they're two separate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
Two separate questions. Yeah. Okay. And then will they be put next to someone with similar items, or will it be random, or can they choose who they're next to?
Great question. So we try to split up different types of businesses. So you're not just having a bunch of the same things next to each other. It gives people a chance to walk around and experience different things. So that's part of our curation process. If you do want to be next to somebody, we do have a special placement option that you can reach out to us. It is, I think it's $50 off the top of my head right now for like a special placement, because we have like a special placement offer for everybody else. But that is something to consider if you're wanting to be next to somebody specifically, just as it's a special placement, as an extra time to kind of build that out. But yeah, generally we place people that are different businesses away from each other, just so there's a good balance of businesses and products.
Okay, and then a couple questions from Flint. Are we going to want to bring some cash to have on hand for giving change?
We generally don't recommend doing cash, but if that's, I have to get back to that. I thought there was something with cash. We don't recommend doing cash.
Yeah, I know that sometimes venues can also like they'll be just a card only venue. Like I know like any of the vendors at Kilby Block Party, like we're just cat or just card. So it might be something that we need to double check with both like the venue and then
Yeah,
also.
yeah, let me double check on that because I actually know that changes depending, but let me get back to you on that.
And then one more also, Flint. I saw something about food vouchers for DIY Fest. Are we getting food vouchers?
Yes, you are. So we give 2 food vouchers per kid, which is great. Those are, I think, like $15 in value, which is awesome. There's so many good. I'm so excited for all the food there. So great. So yeah, you can use those at any of the food vendors we have, food trucks, anything like that, and we can provide those in the packets that we give you when you arrive on site. So it'll have your badges, food vouchers, and things like that all in there.
All right. Are there any other questions? Drop them in the chat or just ask.
Cool. Right. Yeah, and Elise, so we just yeah, we talked about this a little bit, but if you want to choose specifically who you want to be next to, there is a special placements option there that would cost a little bit. I think it's $50, like I was saying. And then just to specifically put you next to somebody else as well. So that's special placement and the way that we have it with our other exhibitors. So if that's something you want to do, reach out to us. We can see if that's an option, but it would be a small fee on top of that.
Okay, and then of course, if we finish the call and you have any other questions, we're always available. So
Yeah.
hit us up with any questions if you're like, oh shoot, I forgot to ask.
Yeah,
Yeah,
feel free.
just-
Just send us, totally. Just send us any questions you have. I know there'll probably be some, but like I said, we're sending out more detailed email with all the farmers markets load in stuff the next week. So look out for that. And again, if you guys could fill out that survey for the Venture Lab, that would be super helpful for us. It just helps us continue this program and also get good feedback and what we can change and improve as we go forward during the program. Just clear. Yeah, that's correct, Flynn. So you get the 2 access passes that will be for you and whoever might be helping you, so they can get in and out easily throughout the festival to help you load in. But then those will be all access, and then you just have 2 extra general admission that we give that you can do whatever you want with these and as friends or family or anything. So, cool. Right. Thanks everybody for coming. Hopefully we answered everything that we can right now, but if you have any other questions, definitely reach out to us. Oh yeah, the tax. So the tax information, we will send a list of all of our exhibitors. So your name will be on a list we send to the State Tax Commission. They will then, after the festival, send you a form to go over your to file your taxes for the festival. You'll want to try to include the tax, the 7.75 tax into your pricing. I know there's like a calculator you can do that with. So whatever your price is, try to add that 7.75 into just so you don't have to adjust for it later because those taxes will be then taken out for the products that you sell. But then you will get it, yeah, like I said, you'll get a form after in the mail, and then you'll fill that out and send that back. Does that help? I know the taxes are a little weird, so.
Yeah, and then basically another reason that it is helpful to do card only, it is easier to track your sales for taxes. So just kind of remember to just track as much as you can with your sales. And that will make it easier for you. You'll learn when you have to pay your taxes all the time. But yeah, the more tracking, the better.
Yeah, track every sale. It's just good practice too, because that also helps you adjust your prices, see what sells. It's just, yeah, tracking everything is a great practice anyway, but also when tax season comes. So
I'll get back to you.
cool. Just don't think we have any other questions. Wanted to double check, but if we're all good, yeah, I want to thank you guys for coming. Appreciate you guys taking the time to go through this information. And we'll see everybody at the farmers market on the 13th. Cool.
All right, thanks for coming, guys.